We're back. We're back. We're here with Al Thomas. He is the vice chairman of the Chelmsford School Committee. We appreciate you coming on, Al.
My pleasure.
So
Fun to be here.
We figured you'd have him come on. The school year is going to end probably soon, and I know the kids have been going extended days, so I'm sure they're getting antsy to get
that
out.
worked out very well. I mean, we had people who had to adjust their lessons and so forth after school, but considering the magnitude of the thing, it went very well. And I think it was much more valuable to do that. Some of the schools, districts did things where they had like homework packages to try to make up the time and so forth, but I question the value of some of that. I mean, this, even for the younger kids, there was some concern about the younger kids and whether they'd be able to handle the extra time, but the pressure was off. You know, I mean, they had more time, and so it wasn't as rush as sometimes it is, so it worked out well.
I've actually liked it.
Good.
Yeah, it's been, well, it's extended days, so you know, I get a little bit more work time in, which is good. But actually, my daughters liked it too. And you know, I remember being in school sometimes, and you'd be in the middle of like what was a fun lesson, and you'd be trying to wrap stuff up sooner than you'd want to, just because you were kind of squished for time. So maybe, hopefully, the extended time gives some of those lessons.
Well, of course, that was the lesson that we learned with full-day kindergarten. People were concerned, particularly, we heard from a lot of people who had taught kindergarten a long time ago, the kids won't be able to stay awake. But the kids have been going to school for 2 or 3 years by the time they get to kindergarten. So it went very well. And it wasn't that we introduced a whole bunch of more content. It was just spend some time on things instead of the poor people who were trying to cover the curriculum. And in a short day, it was brutal. So that was a big change. That was great.
Well, things seem like they're pretty stable at the Chelmsford schools these days. You know, not that I want to create any sort of issues.
No.
But you know, I know that elections came, and Donna Newcomb is now on the board. Talk about kind of the change and where things are at now.
The last year was a tough year on a lot of different fronts, but yeah, things have settled out a lot. Donna's a great addition, as many know. She's a special ed teacher in Lowell, and I think that dimension coming onto the committee is going to help a lot. But she's attended meetings, you know, well in advance of becoming on the board. She knows what's going on. She knows people in town. She's already playing a major role. So I think that's going to be a great addition. And I'm really pleased about Dennis wanting to take over his chair. I didn't fight him at all. It was fine with me. You know, people don't realize, just being a member on the committee takes a lot of time, because we're liaisons to a couple of schools and other organizations, as well as the regular meetings, and we're involved in collective bargaining a lot of the time with one group or another. So being chair it takes a lot of responsibility, and I was really glad that he stepped up. And you know, he's from town. He graduated from the high school, was an outstanding athlete, and he's the head of the science department at Central Catholic, so that he has that academic continuing involvement that's very valuable too. So I think things are in good shape.
I think wasn't he just recently inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame?
Yes, he's a member of the Hall.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good choice.
Yeah, I enjoyed this year's Hall of Fame. It's becoming much more diversified. You know, we had someone who was a field doctor along the lines of MASH, a pilot who'd been with the Thunderbirds, all kinds of different people, and that's unique. I mean, most districts have a Hall of Fame, but it's usually for athletes, and that's about the extent of it. To have all kinds of people recognized. The hardest thing is to get people to nominate people and to write them up. But we have Bob Paraso and a group of other people have been actively pushing to get people nominated. So we have a bank of people that we could do 9, you know, without any trouble for a number of years to come. So that's exciting.
Well, it was interesting because I saw you at the Chelmsford alumni golf outing. How did you do?
We did very well, thanks to Jack Conrad.
Oh, good.
For those who don't know, Jack Conrad's an outstanding golfer. I mean, he's well into his 80s, but he hits the ball a ton. And we were actually 2 under par. Jeff Doherty and Bernie Battle and myself, we play golf regularly not too seriously, but regularly.
Right.
No, we're pretty much social golfers. But everybody chipped in. It was a great day. The weather was good. They added a lot of new dimensions to that event. They had a golf ball drop using the big ladder truck, and a number of other things. They had a lot of prizes. The event, of course, last year the weather was bad, which is unfortunate, but it was great this year. Huge turnout. I think it's just going to continue to grow because they've added some new people who really know how to run tournaments, because there's a real knack to doing that. So I think they're in good shape for the future.
I've decided in the future I'm bringing like a dead ringer golfer.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, I'm like my partner's Jordan Spieth.
I can't get over how many good golfers there are now.
Oh, it's amazing.
You turn on the tournament and there are all these names at the top nobody's ever heard of before. It's just so many great golfers. Maybe not locally, but nationally.
Well, maybe eventually we'll have one as part of our Hall of Fame. But
sure.
I was happy to see George Simone in there. He was.
Yeah, he didn't feel well, but he gets around. He makes it to everything at 90 years. He's a remarkable man.
I just, I hope I have his kind of passion, when I'm his age, because he really, actually wouldn't even know he's 90 years old.
No,
he really
no.
holds himself very, very well.
Yeah, just celebrated, yeah.
So what's new on the committee? What are you guys talking
There's
about?
a lot going on. One of the most exciting things is the addition of this new elementary social emotional classroom for kids that are struggling. And we've had programs at the other levels, but we haven't been able to get one at the elementary level. And people say they have these issues at that level. That's where the biggest change has been. We never worried about it. We didn't worry about guidance services, psychologists, or all those kinds of things. But now a lot of the kids are whatever common. It's not one reason. People want to have one reason for things, but that's not the way it happens. It's a combination of things. We have a lot of kids that have been struggling, and we haven't had, a program for them if they need special attention. So that was something we were able to bring in for this year, and everybody's really excited about it. Definite need. Social emotional is the big thing in education right now across the board, because there are so many different kinds of issues with learning disabilities, problems at home, economic challenges, just a lot going on. And at first you think, kids are going through that? Yeah.
Well,
and so
when you're the public school, you're educating everyone.
Yeah.
You turn no one away, so it's a matter of being able to kind of adapt for everybody, right?
Yeah, and I think we're doing well. We haven't been able to add. We've been adding, one of the things we're looking at in the future is social workers, because that's to be able to connect the schools more to the homes and be able to go out and work with the parents more and stuff like that. But we've been adding school psychologists and so forth over time, because the demand's just there. But another thing that's going on is that we're starting dual enrollment with Middlesex Community College this year. So kids will be able to take classes credited to Middlesex at Chelmsford High School, taught by Chelmsford teachers. And the course is going to cost, I think it's $250 or something instead of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And the credits will count toward an associate's degree, and they're going to be transferable to all of the public schools and almost all of the private schools. There are a number of schools in the area that already had this. This is one of my pet projects, and I was really glad to see it come into place. But it's really exciting, and for parents who are, going to have to really make this more well known. But a lot of our classes qualify, and it's just a question of being able to. We have teachers now that are working very closely with Middlesex, and another dimension of this is that all the services that Middlesex has at the college are available to the kids. So if they want to go over to the library or whatever facilities and programs they have, so it's not just going to class at Chelmsford High School. So that's something that's kicking off this year. And I think the teachers are excited about it because they have access to things at Middlesex too that normally they wouldn't have. And you probably saw, but we just hired 2 elementary assistant principals. Each one's going to be doing 2 schools. And actually one of them, I don't know if you remember Mr. Now the name's going to, I deal with so many names. Mr. Ramallo, John Ramallo.
Okay,
His son Jason is one of the new assistant principals.
Oh, wow.
It's exciting because it's hard for me to imagine because I only knew him as a little kid, so, but then things go, I've been around for a while, so this happens, but they're really excited. And I think people need to understand that the principal has been alone, and if they're out of the building, they've had designated teachers, just so somebody's in charge if they have to leave the building on them. But it's not a position where somebody's going to sit in an office and do a paperwork, although there'll be a dimension of that because the paperwork from the state and everything has just grown over the years. But this is a person who will be able to be out in the school, like the principal, and be supporting the teachers and the various programs that are going. So we're really excited about that. We've been wanting to do that for a while.
Now, do they rotate, or is it like they cover?
No, each one's going to do 2 schools.
Very specific
If I told you
schools?
that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember, to be perfectly honest, which 2 each one has.
If I had to guess, it's like Byham and Harrington and South Row and Center. Only because don't those 2 systems feed into 2, like Parker and McCarthy or something?
Yeah, I don't know if that was a factor or not. Part of it was when the interviews took place, the interviewing committee and the people from the different schools favored one candidate or the other more, so it almost worked out like we want this one, and
Yeah.
So it worked out very well because they got people that they were comfortable with, and they're different. Interviewing process that brings that out in a hurry. Another thing that recently took place, I guess everybody knows by now, but Dan Hart, who had been the interim athletic director, is now the permanent athletic director. And he's come in and done a fantastic job, in my opinion. I mean, you can just go into the gym itself and see there's a new scoreboard that he got developed. He had the paintings, which were fine at the time, but were kind of outdated, been replaced with, I think they're actually overlays, but he's just been doing a great job, and it shows with the teams, I guess. I mean, I just came from lacrosse. Girls lacrosse is seeded #1 in the tournament, and they were ahead of Lowell 12-1 in the first half. Wasn't even over.
Wow.
But it was cold. I felt sorry for him having to play because it was drizzling and about 55 degrees. But no, all the programs at the high school, this has been a fantastic year. All you have to do is watch the newspaper. In terms of theater, I think that they were nominated with the competition play for almost every category for the Tammy Awards, and that's it's become more competitive every year. And in terms of a cappella, that program's just taken off. It wasn't enough to have one. The Thursdays, went to national championship in New York for 2 years, and so many other kids wanted to become involved that they created another group. And they're just great, and it spreads because we've had kids like Arun Venugopal was involved with Rotary. That's how I know him, is going to the leadership conference. He's at Northeastern, so now they have connections. And Julia Siegel's at Colgate, and so they come back and bring their a cappella group, and there've been shows both at the Center for the Arts as well as at school. And you can go on and on. The mock trial team is always one of the better teams in the area, and DECA, same thing. Outstanding programs, and there are times when people get negative about things, and I think, have you been watching what's going? That they're a level 1 school, and we have, I think, over 22 AP courses now. And it used to be, I don't know if we advised you. It
was like one with Mr. Pasquale or something when I was going through. I don't know.
Yeah, no, there weren't a lot. But the other things, to be honest, we counsel the kids because it's a college course, and we counsel the kids maybe take 3. Now they take 5, 6, and 7. And it was an article in the Globe within the last week or so about that. That's not just local. In Massachusetts, that's what's going on. Massachusetts, when people travel, the quality of education here is unbelievable compared to other parts of the country.
Yes, it is.
It's just, there's no question about it. And one of the things that I've seen, because we have we have 6 kids come in every month to Rotary to talk to us, and one of the kids, the top cross-country runner, the male, I can't think of his name, too many names. But anyway, he spent 8 weeks down at the top cancer center in New York City. I forget that name all the time. But he was there. He couldn't be in a better place in terms of career opportunity. And at the same session of the Rotary, a girl was doing had done an internship down at Woods Hole. And she thought she was just going to work in the, in the aquarium. But she had a 6-week class session going with that. The opportunities that some of these kids are taking advantage of are unbelievable. And of course, if you've worked in one of the top cancer centers in terms of research and stuff in the world, or you're working at one of the outstanding research centers in terms of aquatic stuff, you got to jump on all kinds of people. I mean, I'm amazed at what the kids are accomplishing now. All I remember about summers is I had to work in money so I could go to school. But it's great that these kids are taking advantage of so many wonderful things. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, just because it's just breaking. This is the 50th year of Rotary.
Oh, wow.
And if you haven't, you'll be getting an invitation. But we're having a celebration on June 21st at the establishment. Gene Gillette's been in Rotary all 50 years.
Wow.
And he's still in. And nobody else made it that far. Either they got waylaid one way or the other. So we're honoring him. And then we have 3 young people that we're recognizing. Matt Richards, he's active in town. He owns a painting business and so forth.
Phenomenal person.
He pretty much, he did so much work on the duck race. He's unbelievable. And then John Bullock, who graduated and was a hockey player and so forth. He's been secretary, but he did all the computer work, which, if you don't think about that with the duck race, we don't sell ducks, we sell certificates, and he did all the computer work for that, as well as being secretary of the club. And who am I forgetting? Anyway, it'll come to me. But so we're recognizing 3 people with service above self for that. And it should be a great night. If you haven't got an invitation, you'll be getting one. I can't tell. I've been writing.
I did get one, and it's on my calendar.
Yeah,
because
well, if you can come, it should be a great night. And I just want to, while I have this, I'm president again next year.
Okay.
I'd been a while ago, but I'm really excited because we've changed things, and Rotary's changed. You don't have to go to all the meetings anymore. Rotary, in the past, if you couldn't go, you had to make it up and go somewhere, and our dues were kind of expensive and all that kind of thing. Well, we've made a lot of changes. The dues are half, first of all, and I'm going to be really pushing corporate membership. That might work out like for you, you're so busy, but if you had a corporate membership, somebody else could come. And we're meeting for breakfast, so it doesn't conflict with anything unless we meet the first and third Tuesdays at 7:30 at the Radisson. And so we have, a little continental breakfast and so forth. So I'm going to be pushing. The dues are half what they used to be. Doesn't conflict with anything. You don't have to go to all the meetings.
Okay.
And we're doing, the great things that we've done in the past. I kind of got off the school stuff, but I wanted to.